Are we live? I'm trying to see, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Greetings and salutations. Yeah, we here now, guys. We are here. Hey, thank you for joining me. Greetings and salutations. It's been a little bit to get here, but we are here. I'm gonna have a great show tonight. I'm excited for the show tonight. Listen, I'll tell you, I got my mom's coming in here, and she's got some mind blowing information. She's deep into the knowledge, and she loves to study. So she got an interesting one. We're gonna watch this video tonight. But what I want to do is listen. Reach out. You can see I got the Cash App. Please, if you dig in what I'm doing, please donate, like, share, and subscribe. I'm so excited. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I'm gonna start the show off with the video for Still Here from me. Hey, listen, go check it out on SoundCloud. Please leave a like, comment on this music video. We're gonna get this one out to the world. So that's where I'm gonna start at, guys. And I'll be right back. Just 1 second. Digest this process that they go progress. Multiple in the same feel of vibe. I miss got a medium manipulating more minds. Left or right, you decide. The evil is hell, ain't no divide. The road I'm on is built on lives of those who die believing in lies. But these streets are making concrete. These streets are making blood. These streets are making Bam, we are back. We are back. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Talib. And a lot of you may know me from MREC TV's Heavy Gems. And I come here tonight to bring more heavy gems. Bam, we back. But don't worry, I got another music video coming up for you guys tonight called Bad Math. But first, I got a special guest with me tonight. I've been trying to get this woman to get out here and speak her mind for the longest. Y'all don't even know. Y'all got a good, real treat. Somebody from before they reset the Matrix. You know what I'm saying? So, and she brought me something very interesting because, you know, as we spoke before, and with the mind control and all the things they got going out here today, is really interesting that it's leaving out of the space of conspiracy theory and entering into the atmosphere of the realm of common knowledge. It's funny because common sense ain't common no more. Everything we commonly understood before now is a relic of the past, and behavior is no longer practiced. So this is going to be great. Matter of fact, let me bring her out here right now. Miss Ivy, come join me out here. There you go. Slide into the camera. Oh, let me just do this for her so she can be more comfortable. There you go. Good. There we go. There we go. Yes, y'all. We got this going on here tonight. So, hey, what was you wanting to we gonna watch tonight? Because listen, I got the video queued up, but I'm gonna let her tell us a little bit about what this is about.
It's redacted, the CIA agent that has come out and talk about the experiments that have been on throughout and how they never stopped, how they have improved it. Us taking our property. This point, this is what they're taking your mental rights for you to be able to decide for yourself whether how you want. So,
you know what's really interesting too? You know, I'm gonna say mom from time to time, and she don't like it, but I can't help it. That's my mom, and I love her, and she's awesome. And I wouldn't even be where I am with this greater understanding if she wasn't who she was. So, you know. But the interesting thing, mom, is remember I told you that McDonald's was starting actually this year. You can go look into that they wanted to start selling to you in your dreams.
Dreams, yeah.
Right? How else could they sell to you in their dreams if they didn't know how to interact with your mind and plant suggestions and thoughts in there? And if they're using it for commercials and to sell burgers and products, what other real world application does it have? You know? But what we was going to do was start the video from the beginning. This is for educational purposes. You know, please check out Redacted. You can go to their channel. But we're going to go to this video, and we will be pausing and talking about some of the stuff that they're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. I'm going to go ahead and mute us so we can go ahead and start watching this video and everything.
People need to wake up. The mainstream media is completely survivor of the CIA's MK Ultra program, the mind control program, the secret program used for brainwashing, used for torture, among other things. He's coming forward now because he says we need to sound the alarm and people need to wake up. The mainstream media is completely ignoring this story. And James Martinez joins us now. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the time to do this.
My pleasure. And so you talk about, you know, you and I talked the other day, we talked about an extinction level event. I want to get into that here, but I think it's important for our audience to, before we get there, to maybe paint a picture of how you got involved with MK Ultra, why you decided to blow the whistle, maybe a little backstory so people understand this and what we're facing right now. Would you mind kind of sharing that with our audience?
Well, yeah, just to begin with, I wasn't a victim of it. I exposed it. And that occurred certain aspect of it, and then MK Ultra, I exposed a certain part of it, and I'll get into how these events took place and where I've got to today with it. Um, uh, in the early 90s, in late 80s, the United States was just getting used to of the possibility that there are extraterrestrials or aliens, that we're not alone. And during that time, the abduction phenomena had just started. And this was a very secret thing going on behind the scenes for quite some time until it finally broke through into US media environments. Um, so during that time in history, uh, I had already, through my own investigations and meeting people and phone calls, was starting to interface with people that had these types of experiences, but we didn't know. We didn't know the whole story about what was going on because I've been kind of a part of the disclosure movement in a certain fashion related to MK Ultra because I was the gentleman that came to Walter Boert, who wrote the book Operation Mind Control, the first one in 1978. This was the exposure of the church water hearings in relation to the using of human subjects, Americans, for neuroscience in forms of torture, LSD, child abduction, and so forth, as an R&D project that was already in motion that came into the United States after World War II.
And
So
can I stop you there? I
initially,
know maybe our audience might not be familiar, but the CIA was like using hospitals and
oh yeah,
on
oh yeah,
unwitting
all over the place.
patients who were just in the
Yeah,
hospitals. They had no idea. Some of them just given LSD by the CIA, basically.
yeah,
If memory serves, one of them jumped out of a window at a
yes,
hospital,
yeah,
and because he was given
correct.
LSD by the CIA, he had no idea, right? So a lot of these, they were like civilian buildings that were being used for MK Ultra, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was part of it, was the drug part, research into drugs and psychedelics. And that was fully embedded in the culture in the 60s. My business partner and fellow whistleblower was named Walter Boert. He started the underground press syndicate out of New York called the East Village Other. And he really became famous and infamous after he wrote that book in 1978, Operation Mind Control. I came in many, many years later when we posted and published Operation Mind Control Volume 2, the Special Researchers Edition, where I brought testimony into him about what essentially the behavioral science was.
So we're just gonna pause right there so we could just talk a little bit about what he's just discussing, right? And you was just saying,
The X, that's why I told you a lot of the experiments. I'm talk about fake abductions at X-File Cup. Remember with the Japanese people, they're experimenting and then how they were doing false abduction, making people think they were being abducted.
mm-hmm.
You know, X-Files kind of like, in a sense, for those conspiracy people, it kind of gave us something to say, hey, wait a minute, what are you saying? Because this is what we're talking about, right?
Well, you know, what's his name? Chris Carter, I think his name was. Please don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that was his name.
Yeah.
Was the creator behind that, and they had came to him about and asked him where he was getting his information from.
Yeah.
And after that movie, they made him stop. You know, and that's why the show took the turn that it took. So, you know, and it's really interesting because we know that the CIA, me working in Hollywood for as long as I did, when I say working in Hollywood, it really just means working on major productions that most people have seen, from television shows to movies, right? And I personally have witnessed that it's all so orchestrated, and there's always a consultant on these films, right? And so it just makes you, it just,
CIA a part of the film.
you know, and the book that he's talking about came out in like 1978, you know, and they're talking about it now, you know, like
Everything beginning. already known by the end of the 80s and the 90s.
Right.
With what they were doing. Ultra, by the time 2000 came, and that they were part of that, exposing. But in the 90s, no.
Well, in the 90s, I remember this very specifically. It was like something that wasn't taken serious, like being shared with us.
Yeah.
Like that was I guess the birth of those, because the 90s had a lot of those Big Brother type films where you really started getting these films saying that the government was up to something, and one of the earliest MK Ultra ones I can recall in the 90s is that movie Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson. You want the gravy, Jerry? That's what they was calling LSD in the movie. He was like, "You want the gravy, Jerry?" He was like, "No gravy." And he was talking about the guy who jumped out the window and that.
Yeah.
He talked about The Catcher in the Rye, that book that for the people who had been programmed, they was conditioned to buy this book every so often, and the book was flagged. So anyone who bought that book, it would immediately send a flag to the FBI where they purchased it and everything. So that's how they kept tabs on those people, So if that was just what they was doing then.
God knows what they doing now. I say this is the reason why mental health is an extreme that it is.
I think mental health is in the extreme from the two factions of mental health that people suffer, that's being suffered by people the most, right? And from what I'm seeing, that would be depression, which is a mental illness, right? Especially the level of depression people are experiencing at this time, right? You got to think about it. America has the highest suicide rate in the world. That's, you know what I mean? Like, but our minds is so.
But over the years, shots, like by the time the 70s, you didn't get anybody that was born in the 70s. They got the vaccination shot, and you ended up with like a round thing on your arm, and you didn't have to worry about anything. By the time you got like in your high or something like that, they had them little sugar cubes. They don't take that. But by the time the 70s came in, because I remember my niece had that shot and she went into convulsions, had to save her. But after the 70s, in those periodical shots that children started having, right? And they progressed throughout the years, which it caused damage. A lot of children different ways. Autism wasn't a problem because in the shots was more, like the children got really sick from measles, mumps.
Well, you heard that came back, right?
Yeah.
They trying to say that's like there's more than 1,300 cases or 1,200 cases across America of the measles now. Again, because people aren't getting vaccinated.
Those are the things y'all got really, really sick, But over the years, by the time in the 90s, and in the 90s, they was making the girls in junior high or high school taking the shots for cervix cancer, And so then they put in these shots, if you go and look at what's in these shots, they was arresting people back in the late 90s too from the shots, because then you had the side effects of the shaking syndrome. And then they were arresting parents because they was trying to say that the parents were shaking their children so hard they was giving them the shaking syndrome. They put a doctor in jail behind that shaking. He was trying to tell them, that he was trying to save his baby, you know what I'm saying? So you got all different kind of side effects. Now that they don't even talk about the side effects like that anymore,
Well, all they talk about is the side effects if you look at the commercials.
About the shots that they give children from birth.
Right. Right. So I just wanted to stop that for a second to just because of some of the things he was saying about MK Ultra and in the first book when it written in 1978 and how long this stuff has actually been around, But also interesting enough, how it's been exposed to us, like how we've been trained to think about it. You know, so he's gonna go way deeper. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get back in the video.
Used for, and how they were faking alien abductions and using hypnosis, screen and scramble memory technology, drugs, and advanced technology on the public. So that was new news at that time and very secret, very, very, very secret in the early 90s. So when I met him, I said, okay, he found out, okay, this is what the technology is used for. And I brought in the aspect, okay, this is, they're being able to manipulate consciousness enough to create a fake abduction and make it intense enough that the person will have post-traumatic stress disorder and all sorts of syndromes related to the trauma event. Because CIA and all of that stuff related to MK Ultra was about behavior modification, and the utilization of behavior modification for maintaining secrets, passing messages on, sex slavery, and codification of information and so forth. So that's how I met him in the early 90s, because I had already been involved in the disclosure aspect with big media people behind the scenes. One of them was Bob Guccione at New York, who ran Penthouse magazine. If people look up The Alien Penthouse magazine, they'll find that was where I did that. That was a big deal back then, and it was all over the news when that happened. But part of the information was we were finding out that they were using behavior modification technology for this type of activity. So that's how I met Walter Bort. And then both of us put out volume 2, Operation Mind Control Volume 2, which went into all the effects of the neuroscience on culture, what was happening in court cases, what was happening in the mental health business, because it is a business, what was the DSM-5 saying about dissociative identity disorder and how that affects behavior, consciousness, business, everything. All those things, we put the research into that book, and then we published it very quietly, and we formed what was called, at that point, the Freedom of Thought Foundation, which basically was a 501c3 that stood for the right and freedom to have cognitive liberty, or the right to your own thoughts, the right to your own identity, the right to your own thing, the right to your own brain.
Okay, hold up. We're gonna have to go back. I'm gonna rewind that right now while we all just sitting here. We got to hear that again.
Business, because it is a business. What was the DSM-5 saying about dissociative identity disorder and how that affects behavior, consciousness, business, everything? All those things, we put the research into that book, and then we published it very quietly, and we formed what was called, at that point, the Freedom of Thought Foundation, which basically was a 501c3 that stood for the right and freedom to have cognitive liberty, or the right to your own thoughts, the right to your own
Law or something, a bill or something to he formed the 501c, right? To protect our sovereign rights of thought, mentally and physically. Well, that's because they done biohacked people too.
Everybody.
You know, we've been like this is like mind blowing.
That's why you gotta always, keep conscious of your thoughts. Always exercise, working towards having a more positive thought, because they're constantly beaming in these thoughts that's not serving you. They're going against you, and then they have all of these things on the outside of you simultaneously going on. At the same, all kind of things, and they're not small things. They're things that, they are important, but what do you do about it? Because all of those things you really can't do anything about, except your situation,
right?
Which is very limited.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the way they've staged everything for our situation to appear limited, and then us to go ahead and run with that limitation and expand the prison that create with our own thoughts. They obviously understand the power of thoughts. They're obsessed with thoughts so much that they got thought police. They're actively attempting to hijack your thoughts.
Yeah, they just want to control
and,
it.
and so that you can have the appearance of sovereignty, but not actually be sovereign. Because I'm gonna tell you a little secret about mine. When you be in mind control, you don't know it. You think it's your thoughts.
Yeah.
You have no idea that it's someone giving you a suggestion, because it comes the way across like all your thoughts do. And that's because none of your thoughts actually belong to you. They're all just in the ether fighting for your attention. But when he mentioned to think about the aliens and for them
the
coming,
false reduction.
that's my lab stuff, and that stuff is real. There's a whole division in the military where they go in on people who have been abducted, and they reverse their abductions in order to get information and to create an air of confusion that's so great that the abductee becomes totally disoriented on his experience. You know, and that's something I personally have experienced. It's very real. That stuff is very real. So if they doing that, then they must know about the aliens, right? They have to be in with them. So I mean,
It was at our overlords there. Them, the CIA, to
just an
you would say
organization.
a front for what the overlord. You got to blame it on somebody, and they want you to think that this planet was not taken over. We don't even know when, because they changed time, they changed everything. So they have all of these other people and
Did
organizations.
you know that July 22nd was the fastest day ever?
Mhm.
They are
There's so much going on.
right. They are really messing with time though, so much that they have to tell you that time is faster now.
But you know that because from from like say about 4 in the morning to 10 is like a blink of an eye.
Mm.
And next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you look up again, it's evening. You really don't enjoy those moments like.
I think because now we are more, we're constantly being exposed to information throughout the day, all day long.
Overloaded information.
Right, which means we're not experiencing a lot of the day. We're checking out a lot of the day, because whenever you're sitting there doing that, you're going into a hypnotic state where you are missing time,
When you're on that phone.
and you don't
computer.
realize it, you know. Yeah, but you begin to miss time, right? And so minutes turn to hours. Now hours are turning into where did the day go? You know, and I think this is like super comic book villain stuff, man. This is the stuff that they said is never true. You're a geek for believing that. Like,
But the veil is coming down.
yeah, you know.
And it's according on how you deal with it, accepted to move forward and take control of our and step out of fear.
Yeah, and leave belief alone. You
Either
know.
you know, you
Hey, listen,
and
belief
it's
is
okay
one of
not
the most.
to know because you can learn to know.
I mean, and you know, my philosophy is you're always right. So if you say you don't know, you're right about that, right? And so the question really becomes, what do you want to be right about? You know, and the moment you say you know, you know, and information will present itself to you and to support that. I mean, I think that what happens in the mind and how it's experienced itself in the physical world, somehow that is happening faster.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they're fully aware of this, and I think it's why it's so important they keep us engaged
Because
in these things that they keep
the
throwing
cycle
at
has
us.
come, and it's a lot of things going on above our head, around us, under our feet. We don't even understand the conflict that's going on with things that Now we're going to have to start like turning our head to, because they've kept it hush hush for so long. All our lives they've kept it hush. Now they can't or know which way you're going to turn your head and what you're going to look at to be able to take control of your life. You know? And we're responsible for ourselves. No government, nobody is responsible for yourself except you. Have everything that you need. You just have to stop relying on, you know.
Well, it's a brutal cycle.
Well, I say things meaning
the system.
The technology.
I think you
and
mean the system personally.
Yeah,
it's not a reliance on the technology as it is as much as the belief in the system that we believe in so heavily. We don't know, but we truly do have a lot of belief in it. Whereas in that system says if you do certain things, you will get certain results. Yeah. You know, and I left that broad for anybody to fill in the gaps based on who they
Their
are.
belief system.
Yeah, because that's how the system works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you're afraid to lose a job, if you afraid that that if you don't do what the system say, that they have the power to strip your ability to eat and stay sheltered and have basic creature amenities, right? Creature comforts, things that make you are grateful for being alive, you know? Mm-hmm. The experience of life itself is so tied into their belief system about a job, about being an upright standing citizen too. Because it's not just you got all these people out here that's doing crimes and doing other things, that's getting the money and realizing it's more than just money. It's about respect. And a lot of them, they think, well, if I get the money, they get the respect. But they get the money and these rich people still don't respect them. See, because it's really something going on bigger than that. It's about the system. The system doesn't need money to sustain itself. It needs us. Right? And they've convinced us that we need money and the system to sustain ourselves. But the system doesn't need us. This is why you allow your loved ones to go to prison. Right? Not everybody in prison is a goddamn criminal.
And political leaders and political people that didn't agree with things.
Most of the people in prison are non-violent offenders. Right. This is a fact. It's not rehabilitation. You know? But I don't go too far into that. We'll probably talk about that in a minute. Maybe we'll pull up one of Dane Calloway videos and get touch into a little bit of what. By the way, y'all, we need you over here. That's my mother. She'll tell you, all my family, we from here. Right? And it wasn't slavery. We were prisoners of war. There's a difference. You don't cut the penis off a slave. You cut the penis off the prisoner of war. You don't want the prisoner of war to reproduce. You want the slave to. But let's get back into this, because this is getting, you can see he seemed nervous. Like he got to get this off his chest before they hit him with the Havana syndrome or something.
Well, personally, I just think that he's, here's my thought on CIA. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as you go outside of the CIA and tell something that you don't supposed to tell. There is no such. You can't even retire from the CIA.
You must be. You sound like you talk about that CIA guy that's running around the internet everywhere with all the hair, who looks like he's
supposed to do that. They know their time is up. They gotta tell you
like
stuff.
He giving us he giving us the real secrets. Or something.
They know they gotta give you.
Why would he be able to do that? Why would the
CIA
want him to do that? Just think about that.
The CIA.
Why is he the least the most? They've sent the most un-CIA looking dude ever. Of all times. Yeah. I hope my audio probably peaked on that. Let me just fix this, guys. I don't want to throw out the audio too much on you, but that's not the guy you send.
Yeah, it is.
When you on the up and up.
Yeah, but when you want to reach the audience,
But
like
if you
that,
want to reach a specific audience of people that in a particular type of demographic, well, this guy is perfect. And you know what? I don't know. He might never see this. He might see it. I don't even know the guy. You know. I'm just saying. I don't. When he talk about aliens, he talk about it. I'm putting. If you see this, bro, talk to me. I'm an abductee. I want to see what you say. I want to see what you say about the device they put in my head that they wanted me at Nellis to go to a neural whatever they call them. It was a neural person they wanted me to go see because the MRI and CAT scan, and it was like it's a foreign object. They have no idea what it is, and the only person that had that expertise or something they said was at Nellis Air Force Base. What, the guy?
Yeah.
The doctor?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. No, I never went. I was like, I'm not going there. Are you crazy?
But CIA agents, that's why, at this point, we are at that threshold.
Yeah, they could be telling us about aliens any given day. Like, we could be like, you could look up to first of all, they've been spraying enough stuff in the sky, right?
People have started seeing
to
things.
shoot IMAX over your head. You know what I'm saying?
They can produce anything in the sky right now they want to.
They can.
They
sure
are,
can.
actually, because people don't know what they're seeing out there. They got all kind of things. But I just want to say the CIA people is like, not saying he not telling the truth, but when they need to update you, bring you up to date, get you to be acceptance of things, because they controlled your vision of what you see, believe, and which way you going to go with your thought pattern. And so they know they got to get everybody ready for certain things. But, a lot of people is not going to really go for it in that sense. But the majority will.
I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people going to go. Listen, a lot of people went for 2020. A lot of people went for 2020. That's a fact. Right? A lot of people know that you can't make a vaccine in less than 5 years. A lot of people know that you can't do that in less than 5 years. Not something that has been tested and approved and has some sort of data to support that says this is the long-term effects, at least 5 years. We didn't have that. Oh, what about all the herd immunity that was happening? Before that, they had the worst flu in the world going around. People was dying in millions of numbers of the flu, and they was saying disease X going to come. I mean, I think it's interesting. They're so good at that we all conversate about these events on the news like it just happened sometimes, and it didn't. Right? Like we all in the room with these people somehow all of a sudden. I don't know.
2020, the world changed.
I feel like it changed to a degree, yeah. I mean, I feel like it changed before 2020 personally, but I see that. I can see that. Yeah, okay, but we're going to get back in this video right now. That was a deep talk. Here we go, y'all.
Going on at all. There was a very small handful of people that was involved with this. Colonel Fletcher Prouty was involved. Colonel Tom Bearden was involved. Walter Boat was involved. I was involved. We had to sign agreements with psychiatrists and psychologists because they were terrified because a lot of their clients had been abused in various programs and they became clients. So we were looking at all the neuroscience and the effects of the neuroscience on culture in the United States. So this is what's going on behind the scenes, unbeknownst to basically everybody. The behavior.
What years are we talking about here?
This
we
was
talk
in
about
that,
the MK Ultra program going from the 1950s to the 1970s, but of course, we've done interviews on this show where it got people think it ended in the 70s, but it became even more robust.
We're in it. We're in it right now, which is the reason why I'm coming out and telling everybody now, because
Ivery is a highly secure virtual mobile operating system accessible from any edge device anywhere. What it means is we're essentially a virtual cell.
There's been movies, media, people have been talking about this, what we did all over the place. People can handle it now, but what they can handle and maybe not be able to handle is the reason why I'm doing this interview in the first place and why I was put in touch with you, because I was given a lot of people to talk to, and you were on the list because initially when the 501c3 was set up, it was a nonprofit foundation to educate the public about how important it is to maintain our cognitive liberty. This supersedes the Constitution, law, everything, right? It's your right to have your own thoughts. And as an attorney and people associated with law, they're kind of getting acquainted with this now and what this is going to mean to human rights. So, to the point reason I came here to talk to you is because recently I was asked to be the chief advisor on a committee related to the brain-computer interface and its relation to the international standards for technology. That basically is they're a group of countries all over the world, and they all have committees that represent their country. Those committees determine what the standards are going to be for technology when it's commercialized and goes all over the world. Like, for instance, the phone or a toaster or whatever, it's got to meet certain safety standards and all this type of stuff. These committees are determining public policy about what's going to happen when you interface the brain, the computer, AI, and quantum. That's going to end everything. Period. It's the end. It's the initiation of the decapitation of our relationship to God. Will become cybernetic. Will become, instead of carbon, will be silicon-based life forms, cybernetics, and they're going to do this via voluntary compliance. Most people will walk right into it, not even knowing they're doing it or want to do it, because there's portions of the population all over the world in the younger generations that feel that humanity has no hope at all, and they're going to fuse with this technology already. So the brain-computer interface, it's tied in to everything. All our warfare systems, all our banking systems, all our health systems, all in the ways we do commerce and move about in culture. This is the extinction level event because you no longer are an organic free will human being. You're now fused, tied into the cloud. And there's a documentary film crew that's recently contacted me, and I've talked to many people behind the scenes now because I really initially I could have commercialized myself in this chapter of my life quite well and made a huge name for myself. I don't know, the mind control guy, but I really didn't want to do that. I've not been really public, not as much as I used to be, because I've always been in the solution orientated thing. Don't tell an audience just a problem without telling them a solution. So I don't want to come here and say, okay, we're at the end of civilization and that's it. Goodbye, have a nice day. Rather than inform your audience, inform the people that will see this either live or taped or a year from now or 6 months from now, that this is the point where you can no longer be a spectator, period. Because everything that's in the news today, when this will be aired, is not relevant at all. It's all misdirection. And I say it's not relevant at all, not because it's not important, because it is important, but the behind the scenes, the powers that be want everybody distracted with the Epstein and the war and Gaza and Africa and all this other stuff. When I'm in touch with a lot of people in other countries, and I've informed them that this activity is taking place. Now, to summarize it and make it relevant for people that may be new to this, Palantir, everybody knows that name. They are aiding and abetting the end of our species. Okay, so what I am saying, and I will have documents in the near future, is he's going to be sued by many people to begin the process of public dialogue, public policy, and your rights to your own brain. Now, there's already been laws that have been passed in the governor of California just passed the laws protecting somebody's individual brain and their personality, because now what's happening is the very symptoms of all this are happening because people are cloning their personalities, cloning their voices, and putting them into the internet. And this is all going to create, there's no law in anything in the world prepared to deal with this and what's going to happen.
Do you need a loan for your business? Well, if you've been around for over a year, I'm about to show you how to get up to $3 million.
None.
So what do you think specifically, and then I want to kind of break it apart a little bit, but who's behind this, but what specifically do you think is going to happen when we talk about an extinction level event?
Extinction, when I'm referring to extinction, I'm saying the form in which your body is in now. You go walk around and you don't have any wires attached to you. You're bathing in electricity and EMF and all sorts of radio waves and everything else. But some people are more apt because their bodies are being used as energy chargers for the cloud if they've had the kill shot. Other people that are not, that don't have nanotechnology in their blood or on their skin, or they've ingested, they still can be transmitted. Synthetic technology or telepathy rather, their moods can be altered. They can induce modules of schizophrenia. So this is what's really going on. This is the end.
Okay, I just got to know, was y'all hearing the pop in? Was it a bunch of, I know that I think it's some pop in on his end, but if you're not hearing it right now, I think it is on his, on their video, probably when he was doing, it looks like he's home. So that pop in, I believe, is coming from his mic. But if you could just give me a 1 in the chat if you're hearing that. Or if you're not hearing it, just give me a 2 in the chat. But well, I wanted to say something about that, right? Because see, when there's a test, I believe, happening right now, and it's also being used as a distraction. If you check in the news and you stay current, which I would not suggest you actually do, but if you are, you'll happen to notice there's been, in this year alone, people are just doing bizarre things and actually unaliving other people in bizarre ways and bizarre reasons. Whereas you had the young lady at the McDonald's, and the way she behaved on the video, which was a TikTok video. Mom, I don't know if you're aware about this.
Yeah, I didn't want.
But Moya, shout out to Mo. Check out Moya's Instagram, and yeah, she was arguing, well, talking on the video about how she didn't like how her supervisor was treating everyone like children, and she couldn't take it anymore because they had cut off some days for her for work, and she was trying to make it up, and she still got sent home early for her behavior. Now, it didn't come out that there was a bunch of reports about this supervisor or anything like that. But what I do know is that she went into the McDonald's after her stream and unalived this woman by repeatedly, stabbing her. And that was one of many. And, I can. There is definitely a pattern of behavior that is seemingly affecting and sweeping through the public that has that can, at least theoretically or at least hypothetically, be associated to what he's saying.
Yeah. It's in abundance right now. It's a lot of it, you know. Man,
And you know, I've been saying for a while it's all a distraction.
Yeah, because they got everybody really like out on the limbs with all the other news that's going around. Not to say it's not important, but it's to say that it keeps us distracted from what they're actually doing. They're laying out laws and taking things from people like crazy.
You know what I find interesting though?
What?
that as soon as he said Epstein, there's nothing there, people lost their mind.
Yes, they went crazy.
But when unidentified objects was flying over military facilities,
Yeah,
governors were scared to death. People was horrified. Nobody knew what to do. It was in 30 some odd states across America. Every night in New Jersey, the aviation people didn't know. In other countries, they're landing on the tarmac. He even said, they're lying to us about what these things are. They know, and when I get in there, I'm going to tell you. And the first thing he said when he got in there, when he told us, was, it was nothing. Why were y'all even tripping over that? So I'm just surprised that y'all didn't make no stink about that. Like, you mean to tell me unidentified objects, glowing lights, things blinking in the sky, they look like they come straight out of Destiny, is in the sky, right? So much that the news is reporting on it constantly.
Yeah.
And he just said it was nothing, and it's nothing. But when
Everybody
it comes
left
to
it
this
alone.
guy, and they saying, well, he was a child predator, you know. Now they want to know everything about who was with him. They want all of this. He's like, I'm gonna give it to you all. And then he says, it's nothing there. And now they like, he's lying about that. Then if he's lying about this, does that mean to y'all he was also lying about the stuff with the drones? It's a giant distraction.
So you can come out with, but Kennedy.
Oh, the first. But we already saw that in the movie.
We know what happened to Kennedy.
Oliver Stone told us. He did.
The same thing is happening the same way when they want to get rid of people. You know, but that's a whole nother.
Well, I just wanted to say something about the, the fact that the CIA and the nanotechnology and how they can influence your thoughts and emotions. And the funniest thing was, like, okay, I'm going to tell you, and I don't even know if he's going to mention it or not, right? But I already knew about this stuff. So you have to remember that they had a thing called Google X that was going to get started. It was going to be in Seattle.
He goes into that
right?
6.
Okay.
He goes.
Now they ended up working with Amazon. All right. Amazon is the one that in Seattle they put up all those high frequency scanners and cameras out there, and they literally started beaming the population, causing certain areas in Seattle. And this is
probably why they out there protesting for stuff.
This is why Seattle. That's why I noticed Seattle became a place that was lawless for a minute there, and you had the craziest things happening. It was performing. They had the technology there. Remember, that's also where Google X is supposed to be. Now, who ends up running Google X? Well, you know the lady who's always was talking on behalf of DARPA about you can become a superhero. Yeah, she's the one that got put in charge of that. And all of these people work with Lockheed, Skunkworks, Raytheon, Honeywell. All of these, they work with all of these companies. All of these companies, when you start listening to people like Bob Lazar, you start listening to any of the people that's been in the ufology community for 30 years or more, they're all going to tell you about, they're the ones responsible. They're the independent contractors that came in that got to reverse engineer these things. They're the ones that made deals with these things. That's why Robert Bigelow is the one that's on record saying, we have the technology to take ET home. Anybody don't believe it, just look it up. But we're gonna jump back into this video because I have a feeling this guy is gonna make a confession and say I would never unalive myself before the video's over.
Goal. So when the World Economic Forum came out and they're bragging about what they're going to do with everybody, whatever they're saying they're doing, they're probably 5 years ahead of it already, and they just tell off the tail parts of it. But when they said they were going to get rid of a large portion of the global population, they didn't exactly say all the details in which they're doing. People presume that means we're dead. They're going to kill people. And yes, they are doing it, but they're using all sorts of soft kill weaponry to do it, to make it so they don't look like they're doing it. And they get everybody involved to be aiding and abetting in that. But this is invisible. Can't see where it's
So
coming
who's
from.
behind this specifically? We talk about MK Ultra. Is this part of the CIA MK Ultra program, part of your
Yes,
investigations
it's
and
part of
whistleblowing?
Yeah, this is part of the corporations aiding and abetting in the computer industry, the cell phone industry, the cell tower industry, and the satellite industry. Because you need, in order to make all these programs work, you have to have your subjects be fully invested and almost cybernetic with all their devices. In other words, I mean, how many people do you see a day that have their face in their phone all day? Or at least 8 to 10 hours a day, all over the place. And
Right.
you have people into cafes. So this has already altered cultural behavior and biology. It's already got biological impact anyway. We're not supposed to be sitting in cafes in front of phones for 12 hours in a row. Okay, so this is already happening and people are voluntarily complying and falling into this. So there's effects that are happening about this already, but in order for it to work, you have to have the legal compliance of the states and everybody that are putting up the towers. Because you might notice as well that if you're looking, and I don't know if you've covered this or not, there's people on the Hill right now that have testified in Congress about the use of neurostrike weapons on the brain in targeted individuals. This is a legitimate complaint because the first lawsuit in history against targeted individuals was filed by Anna Toledo, the attorney in Texas. This is related to all of this because remember, to perfect weaponry or perfect a system, you need to test it. And a lot of these systems and weapons are being tested on the public unbeknownst to them because it's coming through the electricity because you're an electric being. Your heart rate and everything it's an electric composite. You are affected by electricity or the weather and so forth. When you're surrounded this in your house, on your phone, under 5G conditions, it's basically micro escalation to prepare you for 6G. When they put out the cell phones, we're basically training wheels for the public to prepare them for telepathy, because the effective instantaneousness was altered by the user in the interface. In other words, initially this started off with a pager. You may remember a long time ago when people had pagers, and they'd always be looking in an anticipatory state, waiting for their pager to go off, and they'd always have it in their hand. And then after that came the mobile phone. And then the mobile phone turned into the small iPhone or Android that we see. And then the effect and the alteration of our central nervous system is related to that technology because it sped it all up and created the effect of instantaneousness. The effect of instantaneousness altered your cognition and altered how you interact with everybody in your universe. So they made stepping stones to get us to this part where we're at now, where the fusion of the brain, computer, AI, and quantum will be put into one. Now, that's why I came here, is to tell everybody that these discussions are going on behind the scenes without any dialogue with your so-called elected employees anywhere.
How Gen X are getting their teenage bodies back.
So this is my mom and this is my grandma. I recently posted a picture of the three.
Okay, so
who specifically? Where are these dialogues happening?
some of them are happening in Congress. They're talking about directed energy weapons being used on the public. Department of Homeland Security brought it up because I saw the video footage of it, and I know the person that filed the lawsuit because about a year and a half ago led me into this position. I was asked to go to DC to meet with somebody that was one of the top experts in neurostrike weaponry, because this lawsuit had been filed in Texas and our elections were happening. And I was being asked to go deliver this information one-on-one to RFK Jr. because he knew about MK Ultra and I didn't have to explain it to him. When he interviewed me, though, he didn't even want to air that stuff. But I know that he knows. So I met with somebody in DC that's like an expert with this type of stuff. And I saw all the data.
Do you
and
think,
everything.
well, hold on. Do you think that RFK Jr. knows because his father was killed by it?
Yeah. And
Sirhan.
he knows. Yes, exactly. Because when initially, when I spoke with him off air, um, I asked him, so is the guy's Sirhan's hypnotic blocks been removed or at least identified? Where did you find all those code cues and triggers? And who's he interfacing with? Does he have dialogue with somebody? Because in order to find out all this stuff, you have to go and examine the pathology of the individual. And apparently nothing had been done. He'd still been frozen in time and hadn't had any recall about anything that he was doing, let alone, and wasn't even really aware. So this stuff goes on in court cases that you never hear about at all. We covered it in Operation Mind Control book about getting somebody to discredit themselves that was interfacing with this type of technology. And we were interviewing people quietly that were private contractors supplying technology to create synthetic telepathy and induced versions of schizophrenia. So
okay, I interrupted you, and I want to get back to what you were saying, but I think it's important. We still don't know what happened on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania, and this Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was hanging around with Department of Homeland Security individuals at the gun club nearby in Butler, Pennsylvania. We have no information about this guy. His body was cremated without the parents' authorization almost immediately. Was you can, I don't know if you know or not, but
I know
part
about
of
that
this program?
But I suspect it is, because whenever they catch these guys that have done stuff like this, not just him, other people, school shooters and stuff like that, it's always the same type of profile. And they usually, I mean, somebody that's more apt to be vulnerable to auto-suggestion, hypnosis, and so forth would fit a certain type of person to get people to do this type of activity, because you don't need drugs necessarily to do that. And Gregory Bateson and other hypnotists have proven that, because we put it in the book, what people are capable of. But I don't know the guy's pathology. I've met him. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you on the RFK point. I'll let you continue there. Who's behind this and continue. I just wanted to, I think that was an important point on Sirhan.
Yeah, because this is important because there's people that are under attack with this type of technology. And when, it's being labeled the Havana syndrome, right? But there's been no official counter to any of it, because they don't know where it's coming from. When I met with people in DC, he goes, well, we have to be real quiet about this, and we don't want the DOD to make a statement about it because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know who is doing it, and we're doing it. They're doing it to their people. We're doing it to their people, and and it's coming from multiple sources. So this basically cancels all type of borders and loyalties, whatever, because for people that have seen this, like, who is responsible for pushing all this technology ahead and using it like this? Well, we have a breakaway civilization that's decided they don't need us anymore. And part of that breakaway civilization occurred in 1947 when they passed the National Security Act, because that basically chopped everything in half, stopped all the free flow of information. We don't even live in a reality that's cognitively close to where we're at technologically or anything else, because of this bifurcation that took place. Because when they filed, and people look it up, the National Security Act of 1947, they did that like in a week, and there was like hardly any dialogue about it. It was all done secretly, around the same time as Roswell, around the same time as CIA came into the United States. And then this breakaway civilization, a post-Operation Paper came in, and they perfected all these sciences. and they had the national security clause to hide behind their entire careers. So we don't have free flowing information in this country. We haven't for a very, very long time. And that's how these programs, they're getting away with it, because of that type of clause that people get faced with.
So if I understand this, well, maybe you can explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, which is what they're trying to do to us now. So we've got
Yes.
many people who went and got the shots, having
Yeah.
nanoparticles, manipulation of their DNA. We know that to be true now. But beyond that, the cell phone towers, the 5G towers, what is the goal? I mean, I think a lot of people might picture like a Dr. Evil sort of sitting there, in an underground bunker. Well, what are we seeing here?
It's to upgrade or alter our species while killing it all.
Are you tired of dealing with old, worn-out windows that leak, don't seal, or won't open? Are you worried because home improvement
Killing it off, and it's been decided by multiple groups of people. It's not just one single that person. When people hear about the World Economic Forum, that's the public arm of the people that have been asked to be in those positions, of people that have just.
Right. So let's just get on to the, like, one thing he's not really, I don't think he really, this come from me. I only speak from my experience. A lot of these people up here, they be talking like they work in the government or something. They don't. Right. But I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about from what my inductions, I remember what I know. The breakaway society is not a breakaway society. The breakaway society is all the people that think they're going to get what was promised to them by these beings. The whole setup is that we're going to live like, kind of like drone beings, subservient to them because they're going to want to be down here with us. And they're going to have an area where they get to, and they'll have a number of the population that serves them. That's what they really believe. They're not trying to go to Mars. They don't want to leave this planet because they're scared of what's. They know who's outside this planet. If that's why they can't leave. They never go nowhere. They lying. I'm gonna tell you right now. They don't go nowhere. They don't go to Mars. When they go to Mars, that's on a Stargate, bro. They don't fly in space to Mars. They can't leave outside this planet. They surrounded. Think about it. Like if the cops were surrounded around the house with SWAT, you're not gonna walk out the front door. You think about going underground or something, trying to figure out how to get out of there, become one of the hostages. They're not trying to fly out to space. That's all I wanted to say about that. Like, the breakaway society is not them trying to go to Mars with all the new technology they've been engineering from aliens. That's nonsense. The breakaway society is the group that thinks they're going to be treated and give a status in the new world when
Like-
you're walking around and it looked like you remember
That's
that?
like in
Mom,
X-Files, because remember in
No.
X-Files, the
You're
older
right,
ones.
but I
those-
want to bring you back to something you're going to talk about. Remember that show Alienation?
Oh yeah, when they brought those in,
They called them
assembly-
refugees.
Yeah, when that spaceship crashed. Yeah, they became a part of the police force and
He used to
and
drink
society.
like spoiled milk to
yeah,
get
like
drunk.
liquor, yeah.
And they had and they used it. It was like it's sort of like dish detergent or clothing, like laundry detergent was like heroin or something. They would shoot that stuff up,
Yeah.
like. And they gave the government all this technology. Remember, they had an enemy out there. And they was trying to get us to help them. Do you understand? That's what I'm like.
That was back in the 80s. Like, I'm telling you, 80s was telling the 70s, 80s, man. They used to be telling you everything.
They had a show. They had a TV show, a documentary in the 70s called "Meet Your Overlords."
Eat your
talking
mo- right.
That's like.
And They Live.
Well, yeah, They Live in the 80s. That's a cold classic right there.
Yes.
And that's not even one of their things, really. That's
No,
a
no.
short story
Yeah.
that got adapted into a film. Yeah. The story itself was a little different, dude.
Yeah, but now they have
Yeah.
to get people used to the fact that you're not the only one here in this gigantic, place that's,
Yeah.
you only see like maybe a third of it. But yeah, you got beings that's been here the whole time, that live under your feet and walking around in front of you. You don't even know it.
I mean, they just had a report come out now.
Go down there and gamble down there in the strip.
No, they got that. Well, yeah. Well, I know this for a fact. Actually, that's where I met those tall whites, and that is a true incident. It happened. I would dare anybody to go down there on a Friday around that time and just hang out. Yeah, in the wind, and see if they show up. I know they will, because they like to gamble. I don't know. They do, and they were there.
Like more things here than
and I
people
wasn't
realize.
there drinking. I wasn't there gambling or hanging out. I was there working on Mall Cop 2. And when I asked the pit boss, who the hell was that? Who were those people? He told me. Those are the tall whites. Those are aliens, and they come from Area 51, and they like to gamble. And he said, you could tell anybody you want, because no one's ever going to believe you. That's exactly what he told me. He said, no one's going to believe you.
People don't. They don't, but that's why things are going like it
That's
is,
how they can move the way they do. It's like, even if you was to happen to see one and he spoke to you, you would never be credited. The only one people that will believe you is the government. And they would snatch you up so quick under false circumstances that you'll never get the justification, because they'll silence you.
That part is over, because like now they need people to get with that. You have other beings. They need that, because they need to set it up, and to have these beings you get used to them, because when that time comes,
they gave that to us. They set us up. Look, you go back, and
I'm
they trying to
saying
do
at
it
this
again.
point,
Even at this point, look, hear me. What did Guardians of the Galaxy do? Did it just get us in love with a ragtag group of B-list characters that not even comic book fans knew the full history of? Or did it show us alien abduction?
Oh, with the boy getting abducted, right?
And raised by aliens in space.
Right, because his father was in it.
Because his father was an alien. And he was special because he was from Earth. Like, they sort of been getting us assimilated to that. I want to, like, it's so hard right now that they had this whole little thing going on, and I think it's coming back, but I know it was going on for a minute, where girls was like, I'll date an alien. I wonder if they want to date an Earth girl. And it became a whole little meme on social. That wasn't that long ago. And it's come back, actually.
I know back in the 80s that, when it was a conspiracy, and they were saying that people crazy
they just
and
came
stuff
out
like
today,
that. They were abducting women and impregnating them.
In the 80s, yeah, well, that was the
they
tabloids and all that. They were saying that in them
TV
shows.
Yeah, but then, they made it think like it was just a conspiracy. These was nuts.
They said today, or at least in the last day or two, that it's very likely that extraterrestrials have been living on Earth amongst us.
He had
what's
that, Mr. M?
So the thousands, the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world, including myself, who have been saying that these things are real. None of us really know each other. We didn't hang out and come up with this story. A lot of us have physical scars and evidence on our bodies. That was completely useless information. They're all making it up. Group psychosis and delusion. But then the scientist says more than likely that they've been living here on Earth with us this whole time, and that makes sense to you.
Not the people coming forward.
Not the thousands of people, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people that don't know each other. That don't mean nothing. They're all crazy. But this guy, he's, in the era when the news has never been more untrusted.
Right now, right? Right now.
I don't think the news has ever been this untrusted in human history.
Outrageous. Phone calls, they just.
You know what's funny? They never addressed the fact that someone put a video together showing that they all say the same script. No, the news never addressed that.
Oh, no.
No, they never came out and said, not one news station, even the ones that were in the video. No one ever said anything about it, and we just moved on from that. And now we still listen to these guys?
I know. I mean, like, they came out literally and told you and put them all up there on the screen while they were all saying the same thing. And
it gave you multiple variations of them saying the same thing about every little thing. Ice cream. The whole thing with the ice cream and all of that.
Mm-hmm. But people still listen to it. That should have put all of them out of business at that point. And nothing that they say.
There should have, at the very least, it should have caused a major restructuring that was forced on them.
Yeah.
Right? Even if for 2 years or so, they actually just did better before they went back to the plan. But obviously, they're on such a time crunch for this plan that they didn't even bother to address that. We'll just deal with that as we go along.
They had people psychic, don't worry about that, just go with it.
And
because right now they have people out there on so many different subjects, and you have these other people out there that put their lives out there, and people's lives are very interesting, especially if it's for some. Right? I mean, while the other side, people that's supposed to be so positive about their life are falling apart and killing each other on live. So you got this whole entertainment thing, and then you got a few people out there that's actually telling you things, that's really giving you real information for real, But that's far and few, because everything else is true information. I mean, not information, but entertainment.
I mean,
because there's no good movies out here, but where people be doing crazy things in their lives, it's just like looking at kind of like a movie in a sense, because every day, every week, they're doing something, so crazy, until people are like glued. They're like, why are they doing that?
Well, I mean, they seem to with the movies. I won't even, I mean, we've hit such mediocrity right now. That's the highlight of our films now. Like if you can create a cohesive film, you're a genius today. You're something special, right? When before a cohesive film was just the standard. That didn't make you special. That's not why your film was garnered so much attention or respect. Now if you could just make a movie that actually has a beginning, middle, and end, then you're like genius. You're like a genius filmmaker. Because they don't know what the end of a movie looks like. And they don't know what the middle of a movie looks like.
That's the point.
And they don't know what the beginning of a movie looks like. You know why? Because no one starts their movies at the beginning anymore. They like to throw you in the middle of the movie and then backtrack as they go through the movie. And then by the end of the movie, you're where the movie should have started. They think this is clever, but no one likes it. And most of these films only get away with it because it's a sequel to something. So they get their money the first maybe opening weekend and the second weekend. But by the time everybody catches on to what the film is, by then. Steve's gone.
That's why I don't look like with Lost in Space. I used to look at really excited about how they remade it. But when they remade the TV, well, wait, like I'm gonna tell you, where that little melanated girl come from? But she won't in the original.
No, they race swap and gender swap all the characters because they feel like it's inclusiveness. Inclusiveness is to allow those characters, to allow those people to create characters that the audience you're looking to get actually enjoys. We don't enjoy seeing the character that we liked before, who is another race and gender, all of a sudden become a black woman.
But she wasn't even in.
You understand what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
my point. Like,
Yeah,
it was a
even-
white girl. Why can't she just? It
Yeah,
wasn't even a girl, as a matter of fact.
It was the older sister and her boyfriend, guy that ended up and
Right.
the younger brother, and I think his sister robot and the doctor, Dr. Smith.
Right. Who they turned to? A woman. Why can't a woman play the role? Well, let's see.
Because
If I write a role as a man, why would I want a woman to play it?
Well, the only role that I liked that
I'm
it
just
turned
saying.
into a woman's role, and they did it very well when they revamped everything, was Battlestar Galactica.
See, that's not.
Because
Here's
Starbuck wasn't
allow
a
me to
woman
say
in
this
the first one.
because Starbuck is a code name.
Right.
Starbuck isn't the Starbuck from the Battlestar Galactica we watched. The show is a continuation. It
Right.
picks up from the 20 some odd years after the show you're talking about ended. This is why she now has the new code name Starbucks.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
not the original dude.
No.
She's
Okay.
not playing him either. She is another character that's a call sign. In the Army, you get a call sign. If I retire out of the Army,
Because I thought she was the Starbucks.
if I
from the-
retire
from
out
the
of
first
the
one.
Army, another person can come in now and pick up that call sign.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
No,
accept that.
Admiral Abdallah, all these people, they are not the same characters from this first one. And some of them that were, they're older.
The
And-
first one didn't even.
And they were, you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So they
Okay.
played different. So it's not even a remake. It was a beautiful continuation.
Because they had so much familiar things in their first one.
Because it's still a part of the first one. It's
Right.
there later
It's
down
not
the line.
like it's not like the other one when they remade.
They were fighting the Cylons. They weren't running from them.
right. First one.
Yeah. That's why in this one they hadn't seen them. Remember, it
Right,
was
they
after
had
the
the
war.
war, yeah.
Man, we over here talking about battle. If you ain't seen Battlestar Galactica, the TV show,
The
and you want to
second
see
one,
the
yeah.
best military CIA, we want to show you some show out there that is well written
From beginning
from
to
beginning
end.
to end. You should go watch Battlestar Galactica.
And don't get it off of Amazon because they mixed it.
You may
not
only
in-
be able to get it off.
Yeah, but they didn't put it in order.
Yeah, and what I would do is all you have to do is look up the order first and then go watch it based on the order. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're giving a disclaimer that you have to look up the order first. Don't,
They mixed
because
it up.
there are some single episodes that are very long, so they run as their own separate thing, which are tie-ins to some events that are happening in the season, like The Plan,
Yeah.
Razor,
Yeah.
and a couple of other ones,
Yeah.
right?
Kind of fill in what
They fill in some
what's going on.
backstories. And
Yeah.
Woo! That's the show that pushes what if you were in a real situation and what that
And
looks
the
like.
other one was good too with the reptilians that came back. They redid that.
V.
V.
I only like V for a second. until I got to know
like
the
I
chick.
didn't like the cop mother.
There you go, the
yeah.
lady, man.
Yeah,
And that's because she was just a bad character, and she was a terrible mother.
But they did excellent in updating me.
Right. And I don't know if they was trying to do a remake or a continuation.
Anna back then, crazy.
Yes.
Nothing like this one is. The dude one that they had.
They don't know what they're doing, but I'll tell you this: you should go pick up my book, Beyond the Veil, Shatterpoint. This is science fiction gold. You want a real sci-fi story, written somebody who actually knows what he's talking about. Please go check this out on Amazon. That's Shatterpoint, Beyond the Veil. It's available now. If you leave a comment, I will send you a prequel to it. And the prequel, I'm giving that out to give you a little history, and it's a part of a bigger anthology that I'm putting together, and there's some more story to come. So pick that first book up, check it out. But
Actually,
okay, yeah, let's get back to the CIA guy now. He was before, I just want to hear him tell us that he's not going to do it.
I'm gonna kill himself.
He won't be the one to do it.
With that.
Right, but sometimes, a lot of times, these people, they want to do something, they for theatrics. Sometimes happens to them. They do love saying, "I would never kill myself."
What? But if he say that, that means.
And then quite often they end up saying they killed themselves.
Yeah.
So I just want to see if he makes that declaration.
Decided they want to reduce global population, and they want to completely alter what it means to be human. So you have spokespeople like Noah Harari coming out and making statements about hackable animals, which are humans. And you're seeing the ongoing preparation for the separation or division of your divine incarnation, your right to be associated with godhood. That's being removed. So they're going to create a synthetic, different silicon-based type of human that is fused with technology. Either they'll be chipped, or they can use other tools to use behavior modification. And what that's going to do, basically, it's going to dissolve the boundaries between your inner world and your outer world. That's what it's going to do.
So
because
we understand
everything will be
extinction level of
accelerated.
What we're talking about here is, or we're talking about the killing of people, or the mind-altering control of people.
If I want to get rid of you, I can kill you, and then you're dead, right? But if I also want to get rid of you, I'll just alter you, and then I can accelerate your death because I'll have complete control over you, mentally, physically, and your nervous system. And if I want to put you to bed early or kill you off or reduce your life, I can do so. And that's what they're doing. It's just one tool in the toolbox that is being used to reduce population reduction, but it's the most lethal and the most dangerous for humanity. This is the breaking point underway. So when you see interviews with the head of Palantir talking about the biggest, most gigantic surveillance system being put in place, he's not talking about the ecological effects of what that's going to do. This is why a lot of people are saying, this guy's the Antichrist, and they mean it, because he's aiding and abetting the end of your free will, the end of your own cognitive liberty to make decisions based upon your own thoughts, your own ideas, your own history, everything. That's what they're doing.
Why right now? I mean, have there been specific alarms going off? You mentioned a few, but I just want to be very specific on this, why you're coming forward now, warning all of us. Like, what is happening behind the scenes? We're being distracted by other things, of course. They love to do that. But
I'll tell you, this is important to know. This is very important to know, because I've arrived here at this point and with other people that I'm talking to in public, because When I was asked to be chief advisor on this committee, lo and behold, I found out that the committee was not organized financially, was being blocked by our own government to participate on that committee, and had no reasonable means to represent the United States on the international playing field to institute rules and regulations and standards for brain computer interface. Because if you think that your information is going to be private and you trust these people that are doing this to keep it private, you're delusional. So when I found out that this committee was being ignored, it wasn't being financed, and moreover, we were taking orders from China, I decided this isn't right. This is not right at all, and they shouldn't be dictating rules and regulations and standards to anybody. But since a lot of the power in this country was given by design to China, we have a problem now where we're not part of the standardization of this and what it is going to be. And the Chinese are running, they're running us in this area. So when I found out this, I had private meetings, I flew all to different countries and so forth, and said the public needs to know this. So I've had to actively go out and try and raise funds for something that the United States should be handling themselves, but they're not, because the United States is occupied in a certain fashion right now. And we're not getting the support to get it on the international playing field and say, stop China making these standardizations and protocols of what this is going to be worldwide. They don't get to dictate. They're not our bosses. Not for you, not for me, not for anybody. That's why I'm coming out in public, because there's critical infrastructure related to national security that is national security that is all embedded in this brain computer interface stuff. And
like what?
Well, weapons, surveillance, drones. Drones are now being run by the brain. They're not being run on computers. There's people hooked up to it that guide it. There's people I know, because I was introduced to them, that are writing code with their brain on the computer in live time on operations. And I was asked to go meet with this guy because I was more interested in his pathology and what happened to him, who he was before, how did he get to this position, was it voluntary or not, and what the hell is he going on with now? Is he running his own mind, or what kind of security agreements do they have? Is there any such thing as a security agreement?
Hold on. So this individual you met with has some sort of a brain implant chip, or he's interfaced with a computer somehow, and he's writing code just with his brain?
I talked him over the phone. Yes, I talked him over the phone. I was put in touch with him from somebody else, and I was interested in talking to him to find out what the hell went wrong and what's his pathology like. Does he sleep? Does he have any private thoughts of his own? All this type of stuff I needed to know, because the public has to be aware of what this is going to do.
Who did this to him?
He didn't want to say. He was working for a joint operation between the U.S. and somebody else, and he was trying to get me to do certain things for him. But I said, I have to meet you privately. I can't do, I have to see what's happened to you. I mean, but when you were talking to him over the phone, he would sound like a normal person. There's nothing there. But I don't know who he was before this took place. So this is probably quite common. Quite common.
For the average person watching this right now, the mom or husband, who's has a family, trying to put food on the table, they're not part of these secret government programs. They have just a normal life. They got the COVID shot when they were told to, because that's what the government told them to do. All of that. They've got cell phones. Like, what does this mean for the average person watching right now?
It means the you that you think is you isn't going to be you. So I wouldn't say that if I didn't have a solution or a strategy to talk to the public about, because I've made sure I've talked it talked to other people that I've spoken to about this in public.
Police officers, veterans, and responsible gun owners are all doing this. National Concealed Carry Reciprocity.
The most important thing a person can do is if they become a victim of some type of directed energy weapon, or they're having health issues, or their personality changes, or they find out that they're being influenced by these type of technologies and they have proof of it, and they want to make a claim against the people that are doing it, they have to be first in line to make a declaration for that. So this is what I've done for myself already. I've already filed declarations in the county recorder's office and with the UCC declaring all my cognitive rights. And if there's violations in any form, whether it's the airport, restaurant, a house, public event, anywhere, and I find out about it, that I will file claims and for certain amounts of money. And I've made these declarations already because there's no law anywhere in the world that is prepared to deal with this, because there's law firms right now behind the scenes that are claiming they're going to be experts in neurocognitive law when there's nothing about that in law. So if you're fused with another with a technology, you can't be in court because you're no longer human anyway, and you don't have any rights. You're owned. You're a product for somebody else. We're giving away our humanity in process right now. So I filed these documents so that this issue is going to be dealt with in the courts. I can assure you that, because prior to getting on and speaking to you, I was on with people in Europe with I don't want to say the foundation, but it's a very big, prestigious one. And I'm being introduced to some of the top judges in Europe, other scientists, because we're at a breaking point now where law, rights, human right violations are going to start occurring on a level we've never seen before. So I know in the US that we'll face one of the biggest mental health crises ever. It'll be horrible.
You can talk, though. They can hear you. I'm trying to adjust the camera. You can say that again. You were saying that you could relate to that.
Yeah, I can, because that's what I've been going through. That's why I be doing them mental exercises and stuff like that. You know, because, you know, thoughts come in there and you say, wait a minute, that's not my thought.
Well, I have a whole program, people. If you go into look in my link tree to exercises, right? That's why they created the Gateway program. They've been studying our minds, and they have cracked the code and figured out that this world is consciousness. They won't tell you that because just the ideal alone, you can't be contained as the slave that you are now, right? It would dismantle the carefully constructed reality that they built around us. Just by knowing that this world is consciousness, it would come down. It would begin to come down. If you start seeing things a certain way, that's how you experience it, right? And I think that's why they're so focused on that. I personally think what he's saying as a solution isn't going to work.
Going to the court system.
This is crazy. They went to court about taxes being illegal. They proved they are illegal, but everybody still pays taxes, right? And anybody that goes to court ends up somehow in jail. So
anybody fight taxes and show that it is illegal, go to jail. That's a fact.
They didn't make these laws so that they have to follow them. And we're trying to hold them to laws that they weren't even made for them to follow. So it's no way you're going to take them to court for what they're doing to people when it comes to this. And I'm gonna tell you another thing about that when he's talking about, oh, you're gonna have this in your head and they won't be able, lawyers won't. That's bull. I'm gonna tell you right now. Anybody that don't believe that they have something planned for this and they know exactly what the deal is when they start putting this stuff in you, all you gotta do is go into Netflix and watch Cyberpunk. Watch the anime Cyberpunk. For anybody who's played the game or played the board game, and which is like a D&D game from the 80s, you'll understand what I'm talking about. See, for people who lost their mind and did crazy things because they had so much technology in them, Mom, they were called cyber psychos. They were considered to be legally insane because they, in this world of cyberpunk, they show that there's only so much technology you can have wired to your biological body before you go insane. Your consciousness just can't handle that. And you're right, the consciousness where the brain, where the consciousness is housed in the brain. It's not the brain, but that's where we believe consciousness lies at, right? If too much is wired up there, right, you can go crazy. Yeah, right? You can lose your mind, right? And these people were sometimes put down. They had a special police force for them, right? Or they were considered to be legally insane. And if they could, they would try to help them by removing as much of the technology as they could from them, right? To help stabilize them. But in most cases, their brains were so fried that it didn't matter. Well, it's all transhumanism to go from a natural biological creature to a technological biological creature. So, that's how long they've been trying to get us ready for it. You know, it's called social engineering. So I agree with everything he's saying. I don't agree with his conclusion on what we should do is him filing in court. I don't know how that. You could have it on record, that's great. And if we ever get to that point where the mass lawsuit for the abductions and targeted individuals, and MK Ultra, and all these other things that the government has been doing to people, whenever the government that is currently in position is replaced, maybe we'll get some justice for some of those things. But to think that those guys, while they're sitting there, are going to give it to you when they're the ones doing it to you, and it's not an accident, it's on purpose, and they doing it for some other nefarious being that doesn't operate under the standards of life that you do.
They're doing filling their role. The only way you can protect yourself, claim exercise that power and begin to understand what's yours and what's being. You got to separate the difference from the outer. And if you don't understand the inner, that means like you're not like I'm not Ivy. I play the role of that being. The mask that I give the world is that. Right. That is the outer part. That's not who you are. No. So you have to be connect to who you are in order to know what is your thought versus a thought that is imposed upon you. Because when they talking about beaming in, doing these things to you, you know, you don't know. It's just like when somebody, hypnotize you. Begin to look at a commercial too many times and go down to Wendy's or whatever and have to just try that shake or that item that you're sitting there openly being exposed to, not understanding what being. And you got to know the difference before you can stand up and own what's yours by divine. And I think as long as you stand up and you do that, then you got the universe is right there. You're never alone. Like, the energy begins to move with you because you are a universe within your own self because you have everything. Therefore, when you activate it and to one with it,
I agree.
You don't have to go through their mechanism. Like, like going to court to me, I agree with that. I mean, in certain things you can go to court, but not about that. That right there means at this point in our lives, we got to make a decision whether you're going to claim your mental state and who you are in this universe, or you just going to lay back and let those things happen. It's no in between. You either do or you don't. It's no in between. Because if you're in between, then that means you're confused.
A lot of people are confused.
I like that up until that's why I wanted to hear his conclusion. Totally, because I didn't hear all of his conclusion. But yeah, going to court and him doing the 5-0. What I'm saying about these CIA agents, see how he gave you the information.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying he's CIA. I don't know who he is.
He is he's
no, he's
an
not.
ex-CIA
It didn't say
agent.
he was a CIA agent. His information was on the screen earlier. We had to go back to see it. But who he was on the screen. He was the first person to blow the whistle on the MK Ultra or something.
He worked for them. Some shape or form or fashion. I got to go back because when I first looked at it, that's what I heard.
I was listening. If I'm wrong, then we got.
Well, maybe it was
the
vague
receipts,
then because he really wasn't.
Not a CIA guy. He's not CIA.
Yeah, well, he may kill himself or go off crazy or something like that.
They might not care either. After listening to his conclusion, it might not care. Quite frankly, everything he said I knew already. He didn't say nothing to me that was
well, we know this, but a lot of people don't.
It was nice to hear him say to have some more credible evidence. I don't like conspiracy theories, as you know. I like to show the sign, like, we don't need them anymore.
I know it's the way they present. See, they give you the information, but it's the way they present it and how they, shape it into what they shape it in. But what
he's a non-experiencer. That's what he is.
Yeah,
he's somebody
but the thing
stumbled onto it, learned about it, and wanted to crack the case.
But
he don't know what it's like. First of all, you was there. I don't know how you ended up staying in the room, but I know what it's like when they beam. Right? I've been a victim of the beam. I've seen my friends get beamed. I've seen SWAT surround my home for no reason. All right? I've seen them literally attempt to ruin my life, or at least let me dog whistle me to where I'm going. It's them. They're doing it, but you can't see it. Like I respect what he's saying, but he has no idea what he's talking about. I don't care if he did talk to those people. He has no idea what he's talking about. When they start beaming you, when they done red flagged you, when you can't get a job, when you've been actually put on that list and you really understand what's going on, then you got it from a
to beam people and and to talk people into getting certain type of things done. They're changing the whole. I was telling somebody about this, but about how they're changing the airline, the way you get on the airline, and how they want to, do the face recognition now is so important, and how they're talking about now, if they feel suspicious about you, they can make you go on your phone and pull up your social media and go through it and things of this nature. So it's like you kind of can see it slipping in. The laws that come out, if you notice, every year you got hundreds of laws that come out, and you have to go to the site to read it. And I'll tell you, a lot of times when I go there and I try to read, I just get like some of the words I have to look up. and you have to look at what that law is saying. But there's so many of them every year that freshly comes out, and they never cover it. They may cover like 3 or 4 they call important, but it's like 90 to 100 of those things that come out every year when you get the first of the year, especially when you get an election and stuff like that, and everybody wants to change things, but that's my take on it. But I appreciate the thing that, he's at least bringing you up to date. Because people are so lost on Epstein, on, the fact that, the immigrants, things this nature, that's coming in here, which is really it's an important thing, but they did this. And all of the protests and everything that they're doing that's abrupting everything and actually making people that look like me feel like, I want to go to the store without having to go around the block to evade you. But I know that if they want to stop a riot, if they want people to disperse, they can do that. Yeah, I've seen them make people scatter like roaches with the light on and the roaches just run. I've seen people do that. So to me, I think that that's another distraction that they themselves cause, to keep people emotionally, because it's caused so many opinions and, back and forth on so many levels.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to the stuff with immigrants and all of this is once again, terminology that is been socially engineered into our language. You know what I mean? Once again, like Al Qaeda, ISIS, terrorists, or insurgent, or variant. Right? There's these terms they use, and all of a sudden we all just start using. And I feel like immigrant is one of those, that we just all start using out of nowhere because they started using it. But
they was using immigrant in the 90s, though. It was like an insult because I was on the subway when we
well,
was in New York.
One time I remember everybody. I don't remember nobody was saying immigrant.
Yeah, with a lady on the subway.
That's what people refugees.
No, but I'm saying that's what I'm trying to tell you. Back on when I was riding the subway, right? Because I used to go to work on subway, and the lady had gotten an argument with the other lady, and she kept telling me, "You immigrant." You was just an immigrant. I was just like checking it out because it was you.
No, why are you laughing?
But no, I just thought it was interesting. That was back in the 90s when she
was interesting that she was calling her
an immigrant, right? Because she was fussing at her, saying she won't call her like you this or this and anything. She was fussing her out, just constantly calling her immigrant, just an immigrant, and it just made the lady upset, She just jumped off the train at the next stop. But I'm saying when you were saying that, I was like, well, I got it. First time I really heard somebody fuss somebody out using that word was on the subway. That's
okay. I was saying that in the 90s and stuff like that was not a popular term, or in the 80s. I don't remember them using immigrant. I remember the word refugee. Like when all the people was coming over from Cuba and they grabbed that little boy and stuff, he was a refugee.
Yeah.
These people were coming from war-torn areas supposedly when I was growing up, and they were all refugees and asylum seekers. This is the terms I was taught in school.
In the 70s, it was the El Salvador, because in California, they had a lot of El Salvadors that came.
And they were calling them refugees.
Yeah, and they was coming in. But you know what, refugees...
I didn't say that the word immigrant didn't exist, but now it's like the term that's it came out of nowhere.
But I'm saying that's
for
why
people that's been coming here, right?
The whole time,
right? It's just like the massive African population or African American population right here. Like, first of all, I'm gonna just put that out there. Jesse Jackson came up with that term, and he was trying to pay homage to the immigrants that came here from Africa during the 70s and stuff like that.
Confusing our culture.
These
totally.
people weren't here. This is why if you go back and you watch any of these old narratives and read up any history, they weren't sitting there talking about we got problems with the Brazilians and the Japanese and there was black and white issues. The Chinese, all these other people got brought here to quail us, to keep us out of the loop. They moved them into areas of us so that they could profit off of us while keeping us from being able to do any of those things.
They've been doing it ever since, like I said, in California. Because I went to California in the 70s.
So,
and I remember our mom and pop stores and things like that. Those El Salvadorians or whatever you want to call them, and Mexican stuff. They was there in the 70s. I was there. They all had, like, was able to come in. Like what I find interesting is when they say, oh, they're asylum seekers or they're refugees. Well, how come they get to come in and you give them subsidies and money and stuff like that?
Because there's this narrative. Because there's a narrative that we don't want to work, that we're not doing certain things, that we don't take them jobs. Meanwhile, when you go back, as a young person, I remember I worked for cousins that had businesses. When I got a job, I remember I got a job doing the cleaning of the offices with Butch, because he had that cleaning business, and Kevin had the other floor stripper, and he had all of the bathroom stuff and all the cleaning products, and he brought that to the naval base. He brought that to the schools. He had businesses, and Butch had the cleaning business, and at night they go in there and they clean them offices. These are the jobs. This is what built my character, put money in my pocket, made me feel good about myself, right? So when you say that we don't want to farm, that's a lie. That's not true. We don't want to work in the hotels and clean things. That's a lie. That's not true. I personally can tell you experience that my mother recalled when I even had out here, where I was told that I was too uppity to clean a pool.
Mexican.
And it was a Hawaiian dude who tried to tell it to me because he wanted his staff to be all Mexicans. Now, the funny thing is, I love my Mexican brothers because they are Americans, right? My thing is, why y'all forget y'all Americans? Meaning you're from America. All of this is America. Mexico is not outside of America. It's outside of the borders of the United States.
Right, and United States
of America.
United States is a company, so therefore that's the span of it. And also, it's Mexico because of Spain, isn't it?
There you go, right? So a lot of these, I'm gonna just keep it 100. A lot of the Mexicans representing y'all. These ain't Mexicans.
No.
These are the Spaniards, the ones that think they are the Caucasians over there, the ones of the proper skin complexion, and they the ones ruling over the actual indigenous Aboriginal Mexicans, the ones of darker complexion, the ones that they don't even like.
They don't even show you them.
You think the cartel is over there punishing the ones that look like white people? Stop it. Stop it. Because guess what? They got erased from history just like we did. Yeah. And anytime I ever met one of them, anytime I met any real American,
the South, yeah,
a Mexican, real American Mexican, he has recognized me. I have recognized him because we are kin from the same land. We are Aboriginal kin. And I'm just talking on this because this is something my mother, we be building on this because you're closer to the root and understanding of who we are from our family lineage. from my grandmother and her grandmother's grandmother. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I got a lot of the oral stories from my grandmother. I was the one who spoke to everybody in my. I love to hear everybody's stories. So I was blessed to speak to all my aunts and uncles.
You know what I like to say? But people understand back in the 80s, what they did was they started quietly getting rid of our business. We had a lot of contracts with
Mm-hmm.
and you had, because I worked for our people, late 70s, 80s, up till like, and they gave jobs. I worked with the brothers with at First National Enterprise Bank. You had 5 brothers that came together and put that bank together. Herman Valentine down in the South, he had like 3 locations, and he did data entry, and they also did what you call the coding for when you typing into the computer when you're out there in the war zone where it can be scrambled and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Herman Valentine had that contract. Also, he had the
Encryption.
data he had that contract. And what it did, it took them like 5 years to tear that man down. And in the 80s, it was an attack on all of these black businesses, or Nietzsche, that say businesses. Gotta stop using that word. It has no land or no reference to it as a culture. But yeah, it's like, and then by the time the 90s, the end of the middle of the 90s, going into that, it's like if they never did exist. It's like people don't even understand that we did thrive at a point in time, and we did create those businesses. But they quietly took these contracts from us and gave them to these people that you see out there now. And it's very hard for us to get certain type of, they want to give us the type of things that really don't create jobs, because before, our people created jobs for us when we went and we were able to work there with benefits and decent pay. And we don't have that anymore, because after the 80s, we don't even have communities. After the crack distribution came in, it tore up a lot of our neighborhoods, and on top of the government attacking our businesses that were good and giving us jobs, it changed everything. And now we're sitting here like, hanging by a thread, and that look like the business that people want to go into now is just selling you something.
I don't know. I mean, what do you mean selling you something? Everybody's selling something, even if it's a useful product.
Yeah, but like in a point when maybe we can, begin to like more involved with opening up, like private schools for our children.
Well, I know that in here in the city of Las Vegas, there is a brother over off of Martin Luther King, right over there by that Boys and Girls Club, not far from there, by that school. He got a program after school completely free. Kids could come in there, and he's teaching them how to 3D print, how to design games.
Yeah, that's.
And he's a brother, a young brother. You know what I'm saying? And they gave him his own little space in there. I designed a business card for him. I want to help him out. I'm still waiting for him to get back in contact with me about, me coming in there and seeing if I could do anything with them and the kids, But these things is like, they starting to move more though. We don't hear them and nobody's talking about them because everybody's into sensationalism. So a lot of because a lot of us is into computers, a lot of us is into engineering because we love robots. We grew up on Iron Man. It's real now. You can actually do these things now. But they don't talk about us being in the engineering right? And then we get this shitty ass show where we get a chance for to see a young black engineer be something, and then she's a complete asshole, which is Ivery Williams. Yeah. And that was, so it's like we're not even. It's like hip hop right now. Yeah. There's a lot of good underground rappers they are saying something. And they are impressive, right? Yeah. They really grew from what we did before, and you can see that, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't know them. You would think they don't even exist. You know what I mean? They can't get any airtime to give them a real voice. Because the machine and the people that run the machine, they're not gonna give that to you, right? And it's like if you keep thinking that this world is physically in front of you, you're gonna keep thinking they got the power over you. But when you start realizing that this world is internal and it's coming from you, and the only advantages they have is that they understand how to sell you a psychological story for you and give you a character to play. They're really good at that. When you can start defining and writing your own characters, then you can bend the laws of physics in this place.
That's coming into play because you got young women out here saying they don't agree with what's out there, and this music, in a sense, is kind of fading away in its own right because of all of this, nonsense that go along with it. I mean, the whole time it's been out, it's been putting people in jail, killing people, costing a lot of children not to have a father.
Yeah, I wouldn't say maybe in the 80s too, it was causing a lot of damage and killing people.
Well,
I don't really know.
That was more so the change in the system.
I just know that at one point it was an artistic expression of self through lyricism, and the artistic expression of self through lyricism and originality. And one of the most crucial parts of hip hop is somebody who was out there. And one day when my videos blow up, some people may come looking and be like, "Oh, it's him," because I was out there, and that was being original and not sounding like the other guy and not using the same lines. And there were always punchlines that were popular.
Clearly and pronouncing your words correctly when you're talking. I mean, like, and at least have something that's you're talking about.
That's the least of their issue. If you can't nail down being creative and artistic, and you can't be original, then the mumbling is just somebody got famous mumbling, and now everybody's mumbling because it got famous mumbling. You see what I'm saying? There's no creativity needed there, right? And the creativity now is in your Instagram or your social media page and not in your music. Because now it's about what they're doing off the microphone more than it is about what they're doing on it.
Yeah, I have never seen, because I grew up, I'm a dinosaur, and, with media, because, not media, but television, and movie stars and musicians, people, singers, stuff like that. You heard about people going through things, but it looks like all of these people that's supposed to have all of this money and supposed to be famous and talented, they stay on their platform a lot. They complain a lot. They talk about their private life a lot, and one thing they do a lot is fuss the audience out when they have an opinion.
Well, that's important for your brand. You see, the relevancy of you is based upon the views and traffic you get. And views and traffic is based on consistency.
Yeah, but it's more, you get more of it when they have more drama.
Well, that's sensationalism,
Okay.
And but the thing is, if you sensationalize yourself one time and then nobody sees a video from you for 3 to 4 days, what happens? You lose the audience, you lose traction. So you got to come on there frequently. You have people up there that are the own arbiters of their own scandals and confusion. They put their own confusion out there. They create those stories about themselves. They don't care what you think and what you say. because they are looking at themselves as a brand, and that is simply to say, I see myself as a business that is multi-layered. So therefore, I have various streams of revenue in how this product is sold.
It's amazing. Like after the pandemic, it just, whoa. I've never seen so many people from the South that have videos. Boy, but I mean, I've been on there.
Well, I think what you're noticing is before 2020, nobody was home that much.
Right.
Nobody was home. These people did not just show up. They did not get new here. I heard people talk to me about content creators and streamers and this live streaming stuff and these videos like it just started in 2020 or something.
No, it was
like
around
people
before
just started
then.
getting paid in 20, like getting paid.
It was around
like,
way
bro,
before
people have been
then.
getting paid since like 2013.
Ain't
Really
that
before
really
that, but
been
I'll say
around like
2013,
that. Yeah.
just because I was on
around.
there doing things.
Yeah.
So I understand that, like, if you saying that, like, where have you been? Because a lot of these people that are seeming to get famous now are people that's been there, been doing this for 5, 6
over
years,
10 years.
8 years, 9 years. They ain't getting no traction. Then one day they do the right thing, or the algorithm says, "Okay, it's your turn." Boom, and now you think they was made overnight. But you go look at their videos, you go, my God, he's got like 1,000 videos on here.
That's right.
Like,
He's been around a long
so guess what?
time.
Now he's gonna get revenue because he's got plenty of content for people to sit there, go back and look at. Right? That's the whole game here. And now, since it's sensationalism, it used to be sharing what you know, sharing your talent, sharing this, sharing that, YouTube teaching, right? I know I use YouTube for my band when I have the band, and I did all that stuff, and I understand the power of YouTube and what it was intended for. But now everybody is a journalist and everybody's a reporter. I feel as if I'm somewhat of a reporter. We're reporting on the story tonight. You know what I mean? It's like, it's amazing now that, you know what? We all have said the news sucks, so let's just do it ourselves. And let the people judge who's got good news or not.
Well, you have a variety. That's important because before you didn't.
No, it's good, and it's also something that's sort of scary because it leaves room for giant echo chambers where people could just regurgitate their beliefs over and over again to each other.
Well, I do know, like being a person, because I really don't stream. I just sit there and I'm a watcher. But I noticed
I got her to stream with me, y'all. Yay!
I noticed that when one thing come out, okay, it takes like a week, and everybody is talking about it. You know.
That depends on what day of the week it comes out. Like, for example, like I always told you, when they don't want us to know something and they saving it for some juice, it's gonna come out on a Saturday.
Weekend.
Never fails.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right? Sunday night is that's a jump. They want to get a jump on the early week because they know
wake up Monday morning.
Sunday night is Monday morning
Yeah.
overseas, and the stocks done started. So news has begun, you know. But they throw it out there early in the week. You know they're gonna run with that all week. Unless it's, I don't know. I've always learned this. The difference between a news story and a psyop is a news story has a conclusion. Psyop just disappears out of the circulation. You never hear anything.
Yeah.
Disappear.
Yeah, like, something drastic, like they arrested him. Died,
Like the
they
migrants
put
that
him
was
in-
taking over apartment complexes in potential war that could start with the gangbang.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Disappear. No conclusion.
Yeah, did ICE go and get them out of those
You would have figured that's the first
apartments?
people they would have grabbed, but how would you know? Because there's no conclusion to that story. It literally just get out of news cycle. Drones everywhere.
Disappear. Don't even.
No
exist
conclusion.
anymore.
The
Yeah.
conclusion was so bad that it didn't make any sense. But I guess it was so early in his presidency that people just was stumped. Took them 6 months for him to do this stuff. For him to,
like you said, what they need is, what they're doing is they wear you out. They simultaneously throw a lot at you. It mentally wears you down. And so you begin to, because if you grasp all of it, then you get lost in it and you won't be able to draw back and look at it another perspective. Because you'll begin to looking at everybody's opinion and everybody's different way of looking at that and all of the, you know, like with this, all these videos that's going around with the migrant stuff, like they either on protesting or they showing you how they jumping on the people, like they shot the guy in the face over there and now they over here.
How's that migrants protesting when they the ones that's getting arrested? Out there protesting?
No.
Isn't that just American people protesting?
Come on. But the most of it are the people that's been here all the time.
They just citizens. What the law said. They just citizens.
I don't know which law you're talking about. You messing with. Because they're changing everything.
Not the law
right
of
now.
the jungle. But if you know, you know.
Right, if you can remember back that far. They be playing a game in our face all this time, you know, even this game here with these people, you know. They've been sitting up here, and that's a distraction within itself too, because they let them in like what they did because they knew that this was gonna, you know, they knew what they were doing. Everything they doing is a part of what they laid out after 9/11. All of that is that just folds out and goes in place. The next thing we know, that we're going to be looking at these other beings from other places.
I just think it's funny that the people that came over here as immigrants didn't follow none of the laws of our land to become citizens here. Well, tell somebody else who's actually from down the road, right over the imaginary line they painted. Okay? Because Venezuela, last I checked, is still part of America.
South America.
Okay?
Yeah, South America, North America.
You start saying immigrant, man, you speaking with an E, not an I. Immigrant is these people coming from Sudan. Immigrant is these people coming
from Africa.
Okay? Come over here, don't like black people. They was told before they get here, don't you talk to them. Don't you hang out with them. Don't you date them. Don't you marry them. As if all of us is gangbangers or something. It's really funny to me. And
it's like the African guy was sitting up there. And you see the video with the guy, African guy, he got jewelry on, he got the cap on. You know, he dressing like we dress, right? But then he's sitting up there talking about how we don't got no culture, you know, how we don't have anything.
Keep talking, I'm gonna see if I can find it.
And it's very interesting because the guy went and he looked at his page, and all his whole page of himself is him dressing like us, you know, but yet still he's telling us we don't have no culture and stuff, you know. I thought that was very interesting because I'm gonna tell you right now, they looking at they having you looking at the migrants, but we're under attack. I'm sorry, I don't care what nobody says, you know.
Well, the thing is,
because they're trying to wipe us out because they done moved in now, the Africans. Look, I didn't even know that many of them. I'm telling you, got to watch them Somalians because I'm going to tell you, they was conquered by 7 different countries. But they over there on, where that, Minnesota somewhere, where they done took over. A lot of these migrants, what people don't understand is over the years, they've been able to take over certain places in our states across America. And a lot of them is brown too. And now they just sitting up there with community. they're in office wherein they can actually help their communities and stuff, because a lot of our people done voted them in thinking that they were, quote unquote black, you know what I'm saying? Accepting everybody in with the barbecue, And so now look at us. We really are in a real shaky position now. And the good side of that is that a lot of our people are coming to find out that they are the American Indian. Okay, that's the good part.
Yeah, all you have to do is do a little bit of homework on Negro, and you're gonna find out you're American Indian. You are not. You are an American Aboriginal Indian. That is who we are. That is who we are. Now a lot of people have come here because they have not diluted us, but they have reclassified us. They didn't dilute us as much as they reclassified us amongst everybody.
Yeah, but the
and gave us different names.
Well,
the dilution
comes in with this, with a lot of our women and a lot of our men mixing with these other races. Because when you go and
I didn't say that's not happening, but statistically, that's not the fact. Statistically, the marriage, black men, statistically, 80% of black men marry black women. That's a statistical fact. So the larger minority cannot be the other way around. There are those that do that.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm saying?
That you have a lot of those.
But it's not a lot. Okay. It seems like a lot because because there's a social engineering
that they're black. You got so many of these.
And these people, a lot of these people who say, first of all,
and they ain't even
go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. I love you. You saying something too.
No, I was just saying they're not even that, and it's like a lot of them out there. That's all I'm saying. To me, it looked like that to me. That it's a lot of like mixed race people out there at this point.
Everybody at some point is mixed in. Right?
I know that, but I'm talking
about the human experience. But when you look at it from the dominant gene and DNA and how we culturally represent ourselves, you know what I'm saying? The predominant of us, right? The ones that were reclassified. That's why I make that very specific distinction, right? None of these other people were reclassified. They came in under that classification.
Yeah.
Right? So they sneakily reclassified us as African Americans during all of Africans that were coming here getting American citizenship.
Right, like the guy I used to work with, George Norte. He came in here. It took him a while. He went through the whole test and did his little, and he became what you would call an African American. But he didn't say that. He didn't say.
I get what he was trying to spend on it. No, I understand what they're trying to say, but that's not really how it works. That's some ego thing that they had going. You know what I mean? You're African American because you're African. Moved to America.
But they turned.
And, I got to be in control kind of energy. But
I don't mean no harm, but I mean, like, I really don't get along with Africans because I find them, like, not only them, I love Jamaicans, but they're arrogant too because they come over here and they always make it seem like their land is so much better and that they're so much pulled together. But you come over here and you assimilate yourself into what I'm doing, because I feel like this, I'm not running out there trying to go to some other country. I mean, like, everybody comes here. Everybody want to come here, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I would like to visit the world. I like to travel. I like to see things. You know, we're explorers. I like to
I don't
visit
mind going
places.
places, but I'm not going there the way people come here. Like, I'm not going there to move and live there and stuff like that. I
No,
like to
because
visit there, but I
because
wouldn't
they're
wanna
not
live
offering
there.
you the same deal to come there.
No, they're not giving me subsidies.
Right. They're not saying here's a home, credit, car, schooling,
Job.
opportunity, residency, neighborhood, you know, your culture. Yeah, bring that with you. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right now, we don't have a culture. We have a brand that the world is exploiting, not culture. No. Everything about us is a brand. It's not culture. It's really not culture. Because the truth of our culture is everything that's here. We are intellectual. We're artistic. We're pioneers. You know what I'm saying? But we've mastered the art of the expression of emotion. See what I'm saying? They just square us off. But the reality is that even this year you had multiple needy children graduating from school with offers from multiple colleges, and some was graduating with masters at 16 and 17 years old this year.
They only show you these other people, but they never show you how many of our children
Because we got wrapped up into, to like, once again, that whole they like us, that whole thing, I don't even think people understood, but he didn't make it clear. He didn't make it about the Niji people. And I don't have an issue with FBA. Lord Jamal probably won't remember me, but we met when I was young. I was with the Israelites at that time, my cousins and them, Akumlei and Shemaiah and them. But we met in Harlem. You know, I'm not against the what they're attempting to do with FBA. At least to try to establish the fact that we're more than just, you know, and then y'all can't keep exploiting things from it. I can respect that aspect of it, but
and then you get rid of the black, because black has no. If you know, like, I don't know. I don't want to criticize anybody, because, you know, like I say, my people are
it's
very
not about
emotional. But I just get tired of I think if when we go and not ask for something but demand this, put it up to
demanding is still a form of asking.
Right. But I think that if they're gonna do this, okay, I mean, understand your history, and then know what you're saying.
They don't know what they're doing.
The foundation and black is, there's no
I don't
land.
mean that with any disrespect.
No.
I'm just saying they don't really know what they're doing. They want to be acknowledged. That's not knowing what you're doing.
And it's not about no slavery. It's
and
not
once
about
again,
slavery. It's
we
not about
were
slavery.
Prisoners of war.
It's about them coming in and dominating everything and taking from us. We were
prisoners of war. That's one. Okay? If you were used as a slave, that's a different story, because that's what you would do with your prisoner of war. Let's be clear. That's one. Two is we've been reclassified. We're clearly from here. So if the FBA can understand that and get away from these Pan-African dudes, okay, that may or may not actually even be African, we can't know, or the ones that are, that's you. Your family and lineage does come from some of that. We can respect that. But all y'all wasn't here. They didn't bring that many Africans. That's just the fact. You ain't get here till the 60s and 70s. Okay, before that, they brought the Polish, the Irish, the Scottish. They brought all of them in over here. They brought all of them over here. They were the slaves. They were the indentured servants. You don't know what you guys gotta just do a little, like 2 levels deeper of homework, so you can begin to understand something.
Your enemy.
You need to understand that they gave you that book that you sitting there quoting from and you ain't dissected. That's the problem y'all have right now. Because if you start doing what Dane Calloway tells you, go look at the Census Bureau records, go look at these documentations, you're going to see we are here. When you go look at these professors that were in on the lie, then you're just going to be regurgitating the lie from a place of the ego that tells you, well, if I rename it, then I'm taking my power back. But you're not. We got to stand up as who we are. Do you understand? That's why we don't have reparations. We will never get reparations as black people. Black is not a nation. It doesn't represent people from any particular landmass. It doesn't represent a culture, anything. Okay? It only represents a classification in this system. That's why nobody wants to be called it. And they went on a campaign. I love James Brown. He didn't know what he was doing, but he was manipulated like everybody else into he didn't know it. Remember, they used the music industry. He wasn't immune to the CIA's charms of what they get you to do.
I know, and I was only
He
like
up there
15
hollering, say it proud.
Yeah, I was
I'm
like
black and I'm
14 or
proud. He
15
made us
when that
adapt
came
that
out.
saying.
That's right.
Because before that, we knew we were Negroes. It's on some of our birth certificates still. Do your homework. Do your own genealogy. Learn about your family. Because once we understand, and enough of us can come together and say and prove and know we are the Americans. We are the original American Indian. Right? Then they have to get the whole world will respond. The whole world will respond.
And it's enough evidence and it's enough devastation that they have that's been left behind on what they've done to be able to prove what we're
and all
saying.
these hating ass so-called and some real Indians out there that's getting on black people telling us we not supposed, because they want to still call us black, you're not American Indian, you don't know who you are a lie, we know everything and we still from the, you know what, that's bullshit. And I'm cursing and saying that that's bullshit. You know the truth. And the ones that don't, go ask your grandparents, go ask your elder council and watch what happens. They know, and y'all been quiet. Don't y'all all find it funny about it? We got a whole history we keep bringing up about what happened to blacks in America. But we just omit American Indians out of the conversation all the time. Because they already in it. It's us. Then who are those guys?
$5 Indians that brought their way in.
You ask yourself, who are those guys? And why have they sat on them reservations that long and just take the government money? But we the government, we the bums. And we still get out here and work, and we still do anything possible to make money and take care of the ones we think we supposed to. But they get casinos, free money every year, and alcohol, and just chill. They the highest number of alcoholics.
They ain't even doing their own people right with the casinos.
Now, I'm not talking about everybody. Those that know. The ones that are my brothers, OCO. But the rest of you, go ahead, get mad. I have the power of mind on my side. That's what I teach. Anybody interested, please hit me up in the comment. Let's get together. I'll show you some mind tricks that'll change your life immediately. At this point, it's not. We have to say something. And it's not negative. We're not saying trash to nobody. But at the end of the day, the more of us that say this, the more of us that can resonate and speak the truth. Because the time is now. This is the time. We listened earlier. They telling you, what he leaving it out. He leaving out lots of stuff, but he's telling you as much as he can. You can't look away no more. Looking away means you do nothing with your day at this point. You have to just stare at the screen completely all day. There's no way to look away. Time to do something. Time for us to say something. And I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking. You can't go out here and fight these people. They got heart attack guns. They got light beams and sound waves, and they can see through your walls, and they control you. They got, bro. This is not how we do it. We do it by raising our awareness to who we are, coming together with the understanding of who we are, and doors open. They don't have any power when unity is there. Separation, individualism.
Yeah, and get you on this I thing. Like you always want this. You're always grabbing out, chasing it, carrot on the stick.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everything is so visual. Because they got to keep you reaching out. As long as you reach out, you don't go within.
Well, look, we're going to take a real little break. I'm going to play another music video of mine. This song right here, guys, is called Bad Math. Bad Math. Please listen to the lyrics. You know what? After I play it and come back, I might break some of the lyrics down so you can even deeper that I got something to say. And we need to hear more stuff where people got something to say. And I did all the music. So please enjoy Bad Math.
If you control someone's perception, you control their actions, which come from perceptions. And that's the idea. And all these things, interestingly, all those news organisations, what are they doing? They're telling people what to think. And the other thing is...
Yeah, every man want heaven, but no man want die. So I'm selling soul at the crossroads at midnight. I'm sure I'm all the ways that made the lightning strike twice in the same place. It's their space, money for life. The bargain they propose a man and they worth the price. It's loaded like a weapon when you rolling with their dice. I'm calling what you wanna, gonna end the sacrifice. Like them witches coming through on the broom with the brew, make me go. In all these lies we trust, 1 + 1 equals us. There's a signal coming through, changing all our points of view. Feels like I'm going mad. I don't know if I can last. All my life I know subtract. All we make, they take back. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Feel like I got two left shoes. Tripping on the feelings that I have. And I'm stuck with my bad math. And we can't count on nobody to come through and save us. What is we doing? We gotta be the bravest to take it to the next level of conversation, debating, open up innovation. This is a message to America. It is a message from Americans. Know the violence that can you standing on the living yam, living yam, living yam, living yam, living yam. In the land of the desolated and decimated and desecrated, this mental enslavement inside of our nation. We are the world's most hated, same time most celebrated. An immigrant America, founded by immigrants, blinded by ignorance, programmed for nonsense by corporate conglomerates. Don't trust what they promising, 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 promising.
Humanity is living a fake sense of
Feels like I'm going mad. I don't know if I can last. All my life I know subtract. All we make, they take back. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Feel like I got two left shoes. Tripping on the feelings that I have. And I'm stuck with my bad math.
Yeah, that was dope. All right, I got another one. I'm gonna play. This one is called "You Got Me." I want to share this with y'all, and yeah, tell me what you think about this one. Yeah, please leave a comment in there. You see these videos? They're on YouTube. Some of them. Please like, comment, and we're on the road to 100 subscribers, guys. Let's get it.
You got me right where you want me. And of your two halves, I'm on your dark side. And I'm a victim of your ruthless aggression. 'Cause at your expression, I face rejection from your eyes. You got me right where you want me, right where you need me. You got me right where you want me, right where you need me. And you got, and you got, oh, and you got me right where you want me, right where you need me. You got me right where you want me to be, right. There's a crescent, a lethal injection of your deception. I've been infected by your lies. Your words are venom, polluting my system. A deadly incision with doctor's precision. You got me right where you want me, right where you want me, right where you want me, right where you want me. You got, oh, you got.
Yeah, that was fun, guys. That was awesome, man. Put a one in your chat if you like that song, man. Put a one in the chat if you like that song. But look, we've been at it, and guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna call this for a little bit, and I'm gonna get ready to come back again early, because we're gonna do this 7 days in a row straight when we're gonna get to our goals, because that's how we do it. And once again, I want to thank you all for joining me. Listen, we get that 100, we're going to sit here and read that prequel out. We're going to get that. I got the prequel. I want to read it to you guys, but I want to make sure we get some people in here to listen to it. And I'm really excited to share it with you. I want to thank my mom for coming on here. Miss Ivy, she's incredible. You know, we're going to get her to start her channel because she got a lot to say and she got that wisdom to share. And also, I just want to thank Holly for being over with the moderating. Appreciate you. You're amazing. Always there to support. And everybody out there, thank you. And always remember, whenever you go searching for the truth outside of yourself, the truth gets